Okay, pre-AP, this is your area of composite figures practice page. Again, just like all the other practices, if you have not completed this page on your own and then are just here to check your answers, then please stop the video now, go back, finish your paper, and then use this video to help you make sure that you are correct. Okay? Also, if you do get anything incorrect, I need you to make corrections before you submit it to me. Okay? So let's look at this. Remember from the notes that we are going to look for a place to naturally break up these shapes, find the area of each part, and then add those together to find the area of our whole shape. Okay? So this little wonky shape here, kind of a natural break would be right about here. Okay, and we're gonna look at this. So this is going to be our shape 1, and our shape 1 is going to be a trapezoid. Okay, our shape 2 is a rectangle. So if we look at shape 1, then I've got a nice trapezoid here. Okay, and my shape 2 is going to be a rectangle here. Okay, so for shape 1, we're going to go back and plug in, we're going to write down our formulas every time and then plug in our numbers for it. So for a trapezoid, I have area equals, remember this is base 1 plus base 2 times the height, and then once we get the answer to that, we divide the whole thing by 2. For a rectangle, it's going to be area equals base times height, or length times width. We're going to stick with length times width for our rectangles. We're going to use base and height for our triangles and trapezoids, but for our rectangles, we're going to stick with length times width because we're doing volume later on this week, and I don't want you to be confused. Okay? So remember, they mean the same thing as terms of finding the area. So we're looking at shape 1. So we got to figure out some of the things that we may not know here, all right? So we have a base 1. This is easy. We've got a base 1 and we've got a base 2, but I don't have a height here. So I look here, what they give us, from here to here is 10, and from here to here is 6. So my height here has to be 4, okay? So when I substitute this in for my formula, I have area equals base 1 plus base 2 times 4, and then we're going to divide all of that by 2. Okay, so this equals 15 plus 7 is 22 times 4 divided by 2. All right, so this becomes 88 divided by 2. So the area of this trapezoid is going to be 88 divided by 2 is 44 inches squared. So I'm just going to put my 44 down here for my shape 1. So when we go to shape 2, we've got 10 and a 5. That gives us our length and our width, or our base and our height. So easy enough. Area equals 10 times 5. So this one simply equals 50 inches squared. Remember, we don't divide this one by 2. It's a rectangle. So this is 50, and we already had 44. So my full area of my entire composite figure is going to be 94 inches squared. Okay, so let's look at this next one. So we've got shape 1. This one already has kind of a break for us, but it's all attached together, so it's considered one figure, and we're going to use that as our shape 1. And we are going to look at this one as our shape 2. So shape 1 is going to be a trapezoid. This is a trapezoid. And this is a parallelogram. Okay, I'm just going to abbreviate those. So remember, for our trapezoid, its area equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height, and all of that is divided by 2. For our parallelograms, it's simply length times width, or base times height. All right, so let's come back up. We've got a base 1, we've got a base 2, And this one, we even have a height, so we're good to go. We can go ahead and just plug these in and solve the problem. So I've got 15 plus 13 times 7 and divided by 2. So 15 plus 13 equals 28 times 7 divided by 2. So 28 times 7, 56. 7 times 2 is 14, and 5 is 19. So I have 196 divided by 2. So when I take 196 and divide that by 2, 18, drop my 6, goes 8 times 16, terminates at 0. So the area of this trapezoid here is 98, and we come back up for our units, feet squared. Okay, so my 98 is going to go here, and what am I going to add that to? I look to my second shape, simply 12 times 6, and 12 times 6 is 72. So my area equals 72 feet squared for the shape 2. So 98 and 72, we're just going to add those up here. 98 plus 72, 8 plus 2 is 10. This is 17. So this equals 170 feet squared. Okay, for our composite figure. Now this last one is just a little different because there are actually 3 separate shapes in here. So we're going to look at shape 1 being our triangle. This one again is already kind of broke up for you. That's going to be our shape 1. Our shape 2 is going to be this rectangle here in the center. And our shape 3 is going to be this parallelogram off to the right. Okay, so let's look at each of these. Okay, so our shape 2 and our shape 3. All right, so shape 1. Again, we don't have all the information here, but we do have enough to figure out what we're missing. So they do give us a height. Okay, remember our formula is going to be base times height divided by 2. So we have a height of 7, but we don't necessarily have a base. So we've got to look around and see what do we have. So the center shape, it doesn't give us any dimensions from here to here or here to here. But we do have a 9 over here. And what I know about a parallelogram is that these lines have to stay parallel. They're going to stay the same distance apart from each other the whole way. So if it's 9 over here, it's going to be 9 here. And if it's 9 on this line, it is also 9 on that line. So our base is going to be 9. Our height is going to be 7. And we're going to divide that by 2. So 63 divided by 2 goes, 2 goes into 3, 1 time, 2, 1. Add a decimal, shoot it to the roof, and we terminate at 0. So this is 31 and 5/10. And there is nothing there, so we're simply going to do units squared. So again, this is the same as when we had 2 shapes. We're just going to add all 3, the area of all 3 areas together. Okay, so we got our shape 1, good to go. Now we need shape 2. So remember we said from here to here was going to be 9 because it has to be the same as this one if this is a parallelogram. And we have this dimension here from here to here, which is 3. So our formula for a rectangle is simply length times width or base times height. So 3 times 9, and this becomes 27. Area equals 27 units squared for shape 2. So we've got 27 right here. And then we need to look at our third shape. So we know this is 9, no problem, but we don't know this here. So if we go from here to here, we know this is 3, but then we've got one more shape. Remember, we don't want to go on these diagonal lines. We always want to find the height, which is our vertical line that is perpendicular to our base and forms a right angle. So I don't know what this is. I've got to look and see what other information is given to us. So all the way from this end to this end is 16. I know from here to here is 7. I know from here to here is 3. So from here to here, that's going to be 10. And if from all the way over here to all the way over here is 16, I know that this is going to be 6. So now I've got a height of 9, and a height of 6 and a base of 9. For a parallelogram, I have length times width or base times height. So we've got 6 times 9. This part is 54 units squared for shape 3. I'm going to put that into my overall amount. And then I simply need to add these up. So I'm going to start with the two whole numbers, 27 and 54. It's going to be 11, 7, and 8. So now I have 31.5 plus, now remember when we're adding and subtracting decimals, we do have to line them up, and it's always good to add in a 0 as a placeholder to make sure you get everything lined up. Drop that decimal straight down, and 8 and 3 is 11. Okay, so this is going to be 112 and 5/10 units squared. Okay, if this is confusing for you, please be sure that you get on to our Zoom tutoring sessions on Tuesday. I have posted that schedule once again for you in your Google Classroom with your week 6 assignments. So please check out the schedule and jump on when you have some time on Tuesday if you need some extra help with this. Okay, thanks.